I'm just gonna let my soul talk. I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna let my soul talk. Take the path I know.
What's going on? Welcome to the show where chains break, minds wake, and purpose takes its rightful place. That is true healing and recovery with your boy, Coach Mike Rowe. Listen, today we step into one of the most emotional, and divisive conversations in all of recovery. A topic that can split meetings, treatment centers, families, churches, sober houses, and recovery communities right down the middle. What is that, Coach? Today, we talk about MAT, medication assisted treatment. It's going to be a good one. Suboxone, Methadone, Vivitrol, those types of things. And look, and immediately, some people just got uncomfortable. I get it. I understand. Because this conversation carries some pain. It carries judgment. It carries survival. It carries loss. It carries hope. And sometimes it carries shame. See, some people believe MAT saves lives. Others believe it keeps people chained. Some say if MAT keeps someone alive, it's recovery. Others say things like, man, if you still depend on a substance every day, you're not truly free. I think those are both good points. I really do. And, today we're not ducking the conversation. We're walking straight into it. But before anybody gets defensive, I need you to hear me clearly. Please hear me out. This episode is not about attacking people. It's about exposing the deeper issues underneath addiction and recovery. Because, Coach Mike, I believe this wholeheartedly. Addiction is not the primary problem. Addiction is the symptom. The real battle is identity, trauma, belief systems, and emotional survival. And if we don't understand that, we'll spend our time arguing over medications while people continue dying emotionally. So, let's begin with understanding. Okay, what is MAT really? MAT stands for medication assisted treatment. Most commonly, Suboxone, Methadone, sometimes Vivitrol. See, these medications are often used to help people recovering from opioid addiction. And let's be honest, opiate addiction has destroyed entire communities, families shattered, children neglected, overdoses everywhere, funerals happening weekly in some neighborhoods, folks. So MAT entered the picture as an attempt to reduce. Reduce what? Reduce the overdose deaths, to reduce withdrawal severe withdrawals, relapse risk, even criminal behavior, instability. And for many people, it absolutely helps. I've seen it. Some individuals on MAT, they get jobs again. They regain custody of their children. They stop committing crimes. They start to rebuild relationships, stabilize mentally, stop overdosing. See, that matters. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Dead people cannot recover. So let's stop pretending survival doesn't matter. There are people alive because MAT interrupted a fatal cycle. And we need to acknowledge that honestly. But that's one side of this conversation. Now, let's discuss why this topic becomes so emotional. Because many people in recovery communities believe MAT is simply replacing one dependency with another. And honestly, some people listening right now probably agree with that. And it's okay. Well, they say, well, you're still dependent on something. You still need something daily. You're still chemically attached. And some people on MAT themselves privately struggle with this. Because even though they're not using heroin anymore, they still feel trapped. They still feel dependent upon it. They're still afraid to stop. They're still emotionally numb. They're still spiritually disconnected. And for some individuals, MAT became stabilization, but never transformation. See, that's the part many people are afraid to say publicly. Some people remain emotionally stuck for years. There's no rebuilding. There's no healing. There's no emotional growth. There's no purpose development. Just maintenance. Existing, but not truly living. And many old school recovery communities struggle with this whole concept deeply because they define sobriety as complete abstinence. Nothing mind altering, nothing dependency based, complete freedom. And emotionally, many of them fought hard for that freedom. So they see MAT and feel it compromises recovery itself. And that's why this conversation gets heated, because both sides often speak from pain. And let me get personal. Because you know me, I like to be honest with you all. There was a time where I had a very negative mindset towards MAT, especially towards methadone. And honestly, where did that mindset come from? That mindset came from personal experiences with people that were close to me. What I saw looked horrible. I saw people still nodding out, still chasing freedom, still manipulating, still emotionally unstable. So, naturally, in my mind, I thought, yo, that doesn't make any sense. This isn't recovery. They're just legally getting high. I'm being honest. That was my perspective. And if I'm honest, a lot of people still feel the exact same way right now. You're hearing me out and you're probably agreeing, right? But life humbled me. Life humbled me pretty quick because somehow, without even recognizing, without even fully understanding what I was stepping into, I ended up becoming an MAT, intensive case manager. Man, my God is an awesome God because he opened the doors and I didn't even realize. And that experience changed my understanding of MAT dramatically. Not because I suddenly became blind to the problems, but because I finally got close enough to see the full picture, folks. I began seeing people who were genuinely trying to survive. People who stopped overdosing, got stable, rebuilt relationships. People who found jobs, became parents again. People who started healing emotionally. It's wonderful. And I also saw the other side. Yes. Yes. There are people who misuse MAT. Let's stop pretending that that doesn't happen. Some individuals absolutely manipulate the system. Some continue chasing the high. Some mix substances. Some stay mentally stuck. That's all real too. And other people criticize and other criticisms that people bring up is, well, some doctors want people on it forever. They want a paycheck. And honestly, there may be truth to some of that certain situation, but I will share this. I am extremely grateful because I've personally worked alongside people who genuinely care about recovery. The providers and the other case managers. I've been blessed with this opportunity to see firsthand that there's no truth in my circle. People who truly, there are folks, ladies and gentlemen, who truly want participants. There are providers, medical personnel who truly want participants to stabilize, to heal, to grow, to rebuild their identity, and eventually live healthier lives. So my perspective, ladies and gentlemen, has changed. Not because I ignore the dangers, but because I am now now I understand MAT is a tool. And tools can either build something or be misused. A hammer can build a home, or it could break a window. The tool itself is not always the issue. The deeper issue is still the heart, the mindset, the trauma, the intentions, the healing process underneath it all. And that brought me back to the same conclusion that I keep arriving at over and over again. Addiction is not the primary problem. Addiction is the symptom. Because whether someone abuses MAT or uses MAT properly, the deeper battle is still identity, healing, emotional survival, and transformation. That's the real war. That's the real war. Now we arrive at the real controversy. What actually defines sobriety? Is sobriety total abstinence? Or is sobriety survival first, harm reduction first, stabilization first? That question changes everything, because somebody on the other side says, if you're alive, parenting your children, working, and staying off heroin, that's recovery. Someone else is going to say something different. If you still need opiates daily to function, that's not freedom. And both sides believe they're protecting people. That's important to understand. See, this debate is not usually rooted in hatred. It's not. It's rooted in what people believe healing truly means. Some believe that recovery means survival, stability, reduce harm, right? Others believe recovery means total transformation, emotional freedom, spiritual healing, complete dependency removal. And honestly, both sides contain truth, but neither side fully explains the deeper issues. Because medication alone does not heal identity. Diving in a little deeper. Because the public sees MAT as medication, but many people on MAT are fighting invisible emotional wars. Some feel ashamed. Some hide their prescriptions from meetings. Some feel judged. Some feel less than. Some feel like frauds. Others become defensive because they're terrified of losing the one thing that's keeping them stable. And then there are families caught in the middle saying things like, man, I don't care what they're on, at least they're alive, right? There's truth to all of this, folks. All of that stuff is real. See, the issue becomes emotional because addiction itself is emotional survival. Many addicts were never taught emotional regulation, healthy coping, identity, self-worth, trauma processing. So when substance disappears, terror often resurfaces underneath it all. Panic, depression, emptiness, fear, trauma. And for some people, MAT becomes a bridge. But bridges are supposed to lead somewhere. That's the question many recovery communities are asking. Is this helping people heal or merely helping people survive? And those are two different things. Now, let me say something, again, controversial. Staying alive is important, but survival alone cannot become the final goal. It cannot. Because some people survive physically while dying emotionally. And we need to stop pretending that simply not overdosing automatically equals healing. Healing means rebuilding identity, emotional growth, learning discipline, accountability, purpose, spiritual renewal, relationship restoration. That's healing. And this is where many systems struggle, because medication may stabilize the chemistry, but it cannot rebuild the character. Medications may reduce cravings, but it cannot heal the trauma. Medications may reduce chaos, but it cannot create purpose. And this is why some people eventually feel emotionally trapped even while stable. Because humans were created for more than maintenance. We were created for transformation. And if recovery only focuses on chemical stabilization without rebuilding the human being underneath, people often remain emotionally empty, folks. That emptiness becomes dangerous. I hope I'm making sense to some of you. Let's address another problem inside recovery culture: judgment. Judgment. Because some people who achieved abstinence begin looking down on people using MAT. And that becomes dangerous as well, because arrogance kills compassion. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Nobody, not everybody's withdrawal experiences are the same. Not everybody's trauma is the same. Not everybody's nervous system is the same. Some people came off substances cold turkey successfully. Others relapse repeatedly and nearly died every time. We cannot become so prideful in our own journey that we lose empathy for someone else's battle. And at the same time, we also cannot become so afraid of offending people that we stop challenging people towards growth. Both extremes are unhealthy, folks. But true recovery conversations require honesty and compassion, not just one. Here's the deepest part of the episode, I believe. The real battle is still identity. Whether someone is abstinent from the drug or the substance, if someone's on Suboxone, Methadone, tapering, newly sober, years clean, the deeper question remains: who are you? What pain are you running from? What beliefs still control you? Do you believe you are worthy of healing? Because addiction was never just chemical. It was emotional, spiritual, psychological, identity-based. Many people use substance because internally they felt broken, abandoned, worthless, unloved, and unsafe. So if MAT stabilizes someone physically, but the identity never heals, the internal war continues. That's why I keep saying addiction is not the primary problem. Addiction is the symptom. The real battle is identity, trauma, belief systems, and your emotional survival, right? And until we heal there, people will continue searching externally for relief internally. So what's the answer? What's the answer? Is MAT evil? Absolutely not. Is MAT automatically recovery? Not necessarily. The real question is, what direction is somebody moving towards? Are they rebuilding? Are they healing, growing, becoming emotionally honest, reconnecting with purpose? Are they transforming internally? Or are they simply surviving chemically while remaining emotionally stuck? Because recovery is bigger than substances. Recovery is becoming whole. And I believe that we need more compassion, more honesty, less ego, less division, and more focus on transformation. See, some people may need MAT temporarily, some long term, some not at all. But every single person deserves dignity, truth, healing, accountability, and hope. And before we close, I want everybody listening to understand this. You are not disqualified from healing because your journey looks different. But never stop pursuing deeper transformation. Never settle for emotional imprisonment just because physical chaos stopped. You deserve more than survival. You deserve healing, ladies and gentlemen. To the person listening right now, whether you're fully abstinent, on MAT, struggling privately, tapering down, or simply trying not to die emotionally, I want you to hear me clearly. Your story is not over, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. You are more than your prescription, your relapse, your shame, your dependency, your worst season. You're more. And I want you to know that healing is possible. Real healing. Not just survival, but transformation. And if this episode challenged you, good. That's great. Sometimes uncomfortable conversations save lives, but silence has buried too many people already. So I want to welcome you to the show where chains break, minds wake, and purpose takes its rightful place. And remember this: healing starts with today's decision. Another day, another blessing. Peace.